Would you send that to the dry cleaners, or would you sponge that?
No, I just used some Windex on it before I came out here.
Some Windex? Yeah, or you can stop at the street corner and a bum will come up and wipe it off for you? Does that ever happen?
No, I polish myself.
You polish yourself? A little 409 maybe on a tough day?
No.
Okay.
This is recycled later. They make Ratfink model building kits out of this.
Oh, you remember Ratfink model kits, yeah? And Lux, buddy, what's this? What do you got there?
This is some stuff. These are not so high heels, and I forget what this stuff. Ciré nylon. It's French.
Now, when did you start dressing like this?
Oh, gee, I don't know. When I was 8 years old, I used to dress up like Peter Pan. It was the same thing except green, and I had a dagger.
You still had the pixie cut.
Do you feel that because you're musicians, you really don't grow up? You hang on to that youth?
Yeah, it's one of the few things you can do where you don't have to grow up. You know.
Now, how did you start this band together? How did that come about?
How do we do that?
Well, we love rock and roll. We were collecting records together, going to concerts, seeing the New York Dolls and Alice Cooper. But we also started collecting rockabilly records, old records from the 50s, and somehow crammed it all together. And just decided we had to have our own band. We were sort of wrapped up in our own world. We didn't have people telling us that you can't do that or you're a fool. There's too many people doing that, so we just did it.
No, are you talking about New York City now?
We had the idea in Ohio, living in Ohio before we came to New York.
Athens? We're in Ohio?
No, Akron, Ohio.
Akron, I'm sorry.
And all the rubber companies, where you fall down on the sidewalk and bounce back up.
Well, I mean, you know, that's probably where you got the outfit, Akron. Now, was New York the only place you could go to? Was there any other musical scene happening?
It was the only place at that time, because every place else had bands like Silverwind and stuff like that playing Rolling Stones hits or something, or David Bowie hits or something. No, David Bowie was too new.
All there was CBGBs and Maxis in the world.
That's what I was going to ask you. Where did you start out? CBGB's, Maxis, Kansas City?
Yeah.
And what were some of the other groups happening around that time? What was the New York scene?
The Dead Boys, the Ramones, Television,
Talking Heads were starting out.
Talking Heads, Blondie. They were all in the audience when we were playing, and when they were playing, we were in the audience. It was great.
Now, do you miss that kind of scene?
Yeah.
Well, what happened to it?
I don't know. It went down the tubes.
Good
rock and roll only seems to last a couple of years, and then it fades away. And a few years later, it rears its ugly head again. Everybody gets concerned and worried, for good reason.
You say it rears its ugly head. Are there groups out there? Is there a scene happening now, like the Maxis Kansas City or CBGB's? Do you see anything out there in any city that has that same kind of flavor that you guys came up with?
Not that we know about.
Unfortunately, no.
There's phony trends, like the Manchester scene, which is no scene, there's...
You got your big business types trying to make this happen all over the place, but that's not the way it ever happens. You get some nasty little 15-year-old kids who make music in their garage, and that's the way it happens. They get tired of waiting for somebody else to do something for them, and they do it themselves.
This is your fifth album? Fifth album?
It's very confusing. We have greatest hits albums and all this kind of weird stuff, so something like that.
You do have to deal with business, right? I mean, is this the way you go to a business meeting, Lux?
Yeah, it cuts through a lot of red tape.
Gets respect. Yeah.
Because I heard your video. We're going to show a portion of it. This is Creature from the Black Leather Lagoon. This was banned from MTV?
Yeah, and from a lot of video outlets. It kind of had everything that you're not supposed to have in the video.
All right, well, first let's take a look at it, and we'll come back and talk about it. Here's The Creature from the Black Leather Lagoon, The Cramps. Let's watch. the Cramps, the creature from the Black Leather Lagoon. I can't imagine why that was banned from MTV. It didn't look that bad.
No, it's just good,
You
clean
didn't.
fun.
You cut away before the part where she sits on my face.
Gee, I'm sorry, can we roll that? Can we see that? Maybe we can make a copy and put it in my office. Now, okay, they banned it from MTV. If it shows on MTV, you'll sell more records, so you say, hey, we'll just cut out the sitting on the face part and put it on.
I don't think there was a part that could be cut out of that.
We tried to
There-
make it
had-
so that you couldn't cut out any
yeah,
parts.
It's got everything.
Well, but why wouldn't you go back and do another video? You know, videos are important to selling records.
Well, we had other videos that were getting played, but that one was just our video.
It was
To amuse us.
the Mean Streak coming out in it.
Yeah,
Now, you guys just went to Europe. You sold out in the European tour.
yeah.
Do you find that there are differences in the audience between America and Europe? Are they more appreciative in Europe?
Not as far as they act like it's Saturday night and they just got paid, but I think they do, oddly enough, understand the background of our music. Europeans seem to know more about American culture than Americans do, so they recognize the roots, what's influencing our music, whereas maybe Americans just judge it for the moment. And that's cool too.
In Greece,
okay.
there were some fans masturbating in the front row.
Yeah, I hadn't seen
So
that
that's
in
a little
America.
different from here.
Yeah, it never happens here.
No,
No,
sometimes you see
never.
rock critics here with typewriters.
Well,
That's
it's I
the
guess
same
different
thing.
flavor.
Yeah.
it's masturbation in a different way, I guess.
Yes.
Do you find that there are cities you can go to in the United States that you come out and you're a little different, that they really don't appreciate it, or they're a little weird, or they're a little tense?
Not at the gigs, but going in the truck stops on the way and all.
You go to truck stops like this?
Well,
Yeah, sometimes
coming down,
we
but-
walked into one, sat down in a restaurant, and a cop came in and said, "You're leaving now," like that. And
Now, where was
and
this?
there were like all kinds of cops walking
Texas
the door.
somewhere, I think on the way to Lubbock. And he was saying that for our own good, for our own safety, that we really ought to leave because everyone in the place was just immediately eyes on us, and it was
Yeah, we did look
intense.
around, and there were some very glaring glares coming our way at that time. It was very strange to be in a coffee shop and look around at 100 people in there, and they're all looking at you in Texas.
So what did you say to the cop?
Said, yes,
Yes.
we were just
Bye-bye.
leaving.
You can tell him you've already
Just
left.
came in to shine up the seat of our pants, and we're on the way again.
How do you describe this music? I put the album on it. I would call it rock, maybe a little punk sound. It's kind of a mix.
That there's just rock.
A little
and roll.
rockabilly.
It's rock and roll,
Yeah.
influenced by rockabilly and blues, but that's rock and roll.
I read on one of your albums you dedicated it to Ricky Nelson.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
Ricky Nelson fans.
Uh-huh.
Now, looking at you, I wouldn't guess that. I've always liked Ricky Nelson, growing up with him as a kid. What about his music did you find influential?
He was one of the first people to do rockabilly, that wasn't some out of control wild Southern hillbilly, crazed on some kind of drug or alcohol or something like that. He was just a suburbanite, clean-cut kid that was twisted by this music, and he'd go on TV and do this every week, and was twisting up the rest of suburbia that way.
So it brought dangerous rock and roll into family living rooms, so that's an important step.
Okay, well, listen, good luck. We have some tour dates. If you want to see the Cramps live, whether you're in Texas or anywhere else, here are some of the dates. They're going to be at City Gardens in Trenton, New Jersey, February 22nd. They're in Providence, Rhode Island at Club Bayhead, and the Avalon Ballroom in Boston, Massachusetts, February 25th. And I understand you just got done finishing a gig in Baltimore. You met one of your heroes down there,
Oh yeah, John Waters.
John Waters.
Yeah.
What makes you? I can only guess why you like his work, but what about John Waters do you like?
Well, he's way out there, and he's from Baltimore. It's a wonderful city.
Makes kinky movies.
Did you ever have him direct a video?
No, yeah, I worked with him.
Why don't you give him a call?
It sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it would just seem that way. Anyway, kids, good luck, okay?
Thank you, sir.
And if you hitchhike, switch outfits because, black, it'll blend in with the night.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after this.